All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets today. But first, just a quick recap from yesterday's slate. Very interested. This game right here for the top two hockey props actually went to OT in the closing seconds of the game. I'm like, oh my goodness, we're going to have another bad beat. No, it turns out actually Polzin ended up scoring the goal in the OT to hit both the less for him and also the other prop there as well. He was at 3, so this must have got adjusted as well. So it wasn't too much of a sweat there, I guess, then. But looking at it, this prop was actually the only prop that got bumped off the board. So there's a good chance that you guys were able to use these 5 props to have yourself a highly profitable day on Taco Tuesday, especially if you just inserted the taco into the slip. So that was pretty awesome. Now, there was this stack that did just miss out. I shouldn't say just missed out on. Christian Walker only had 3 fantasy points, but this one this one felt like a bad beat. You had Merle Kelly. He had 2 outs, gave up a home run in that inning, but also there's a runner on base. He got pulled. He was over his fantasy points. Not only did the replacement pitcher give up that run, he also gave up like 2 other runs in that inning as well. Cost Kelly both the over fantasy score, but also his quality start. So it seemed like a safe cash, and because of a poor decision by the manager, didn't work out. But all in all, it's already nice to know that we have hit profit on Taco Tuesday, even without that Alvin Kamara taco even starting. So let's go ahead and get into the props for today. It's not going to be as good of a day today. All right, so we look at it, and we're actually going to start out with college football, guys. We are actually getting a decent edge in college football, not necessarily on PrizePicks, and it's kind of a weird slate because I'll show you guys what I did on Underdog earlier today, and they have since adjusted their lines. But we can see we're getting a bunch of like crazy underbets that we can roll with. For Florida Atlantic, we could actually run out these underbets: Dean Patterson, Chris Mitchell. We got Lawrence as well for under rush yards. Pretty much this game is a game that we could bet on not being a sexy game to target. I'm actually curious. Let's take a peek at the ODDSJAM sportsbook view to see if that correlates. All right, so we got FIU versus Sam Houston State. Not the highest scoring game for college football, in -5. Okay, so that tells me that those underbets are probably going to be pretty good. Same thing for the UTEP game. Like, really, these college football games are going to be under 50. I don't mind that. And we can see some discrepancies in the odds out there as well, guys. So, make sure to be taking a peek at those. But yeah, these prop bets that we're getting where we're seeing, we could potentially bend the under on, I am okay with that. Like, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. But I want to show you guys the underdog side of it because that's a little bit more intriguing today. And so we take a peek at the underdog side of it. We got Trent Hudson. We can see at 30.5, this is going to be a very good bet. It's basically a 50-50 decision at 37.5 for the yards. Malik Phillips, same thing. We're getting a big edge there. And I'm actually curious what's going on with the projections. A little bit lower. Maybe that's something that just needs to update today. We'll see. But all in all, when we're just looking at the Vegas line, the PrizePicks line, we can see underdog is definitely lower for those two specifically. And then we go back into these two, Dean Patterson, Chris Mitchell. We can see maybe a slight, I'm probably not doing this. No, you're just betting the under on PrizePicks. So I was going to say we could hedge a little bit. And I want to show you guys this from earlier. Like, this was a bet that I had already gotten this morning. And it's funny because so basically the props that have been missing lately, you look at Monday Night Football, Jake Ferguson, receptions at 3.5. That eventually got bumped to 4. You look at the Bo one from yesterday, over shots on goal at 2.5. That one got bumped right away when the video was posted, basically 2-3. And that's why I said, people didn't use that one. So really I don't count this on the bet of the day. I count it as 5 out of 6 for that slip, but really it was 5 for 5 for 99% of the people. I'm just saying that because it's going to be funny when both the overs hit for this, even though got a huge advantage on it, because that is the awesome bets, the good EV bets that we've been on lately has seemed to be the ones that have been missing. Like the EV bets that you wouldn't pass up on, whereas the ones that are like about 54% instead of like 58% likely to hit. It's just weird how that's been working out. That's been the tilting part about the slips lately. Yesterday is an example of that. But eventually we know it's going to come back our way. I'm glad to give out, good advice like that week in and week out, day in and day out. But looking at it right here as well, you got another one where, about a 50-50 split. Probably not touching this one too much. I actually like the Jonathan Brady for over receiving yards at 37.5. This is a prop bet that I already made. Feel pretty good about that one. Then these other ones kind of feel tight. Now there is one line that I want to call out in college football for PrizePicks that is already out there. This Kelly one, This was our favorite one from last week, I believe, at this time as well. He crushed the over. I'm very curious to see where his line pops in for underdog, because I'm hoping that it's lower, because I want to bet the over here. This is like the one human bet that I want to make other than just database. I'm saying, no, I want to bet the over here, but I'm not going to bet the over at 69.5 when the average Vegas line has it set at 66, if that makes sense. So from there, let's just go ahead and get into the 9 to 5 cheat sheet here. We're going to see really not that many good shots on goal props, MLB props, really not that many good ones. Maybe under bets if we want to roll with that. Here's a pretty good one that we got, another pretty good one that we got, points-based props here, where we could be betting the under for all three of those guys, where they're 54% likely to hit. I'm fine with that, but let's just take a peek at those specifically in the cheat sheet. And guys, just for an FYI, for these ones where the line is different, like PrizePicks has bumped this to 2, they have bumped this to 2, they bumped all these to 2 because they're highly likely to get over 1.5, but they're being valued as pushes. Like this ranking where the lines don't match is a ranking of those props being a push. So I need to change the 9 to 5 tag for the NHL one specifically, and I just need to change the formula for that. That's hopefully something I can do today, but that's just an FYI. Whereas when the lines are even like this specifically for hockey, yes, 54.35% chance for Jacob to get under 0.5 points. Same thing here. So we got 2 decently good EV hockey bets right now. And then just for underdog, just while we're here, Tom Wilson under, like we're seeing a lot of unders. That is crazy how many unders we're seeing today for hockey. Let's go ahead and take a peek at MLB, starting with the hitting fantasy score props. These lines are a lot tighter today. I probably am not chasing any of these. Maybe Alvarez for over hitting fantasy score, but no, those lines are pretty tight. I don't think I want to touch those at all. Just as an FYI, we'll take a peek at pitching fantasy score props. We could potentially do both Mark Scherzer and the Houston starter for over pitching fantasy score prop line, and I'm probably going to roll with those two. I feel pretty good about those two right now. That's honestly probably my 2 favorite bets right now. And then real quickly, I want to take a peek at the discrepancies, and I'm going to be getting into some PGA props. So right now we are getting some discrepancies. We do see that one for college football. That's going to be a good one. This is something that is consistently updating throughout the day. This is a prop bet that I actually made with the underdog slip, where I actually bet the under on underdog for this one, but then I made the exact same bet on PrizePicks because we were seeing big discrepancies, and I bet the over on PrizePicks. I believe others in the industry call that middling. You can do that there with that one. Another good one for college football, 11 receiving yard difference here. Like we're seeing that, that's a good bet right there. So we do have some edges there. I do want to go ahead and get into some PGA props though. All right, so just as an FYI, the PGA props are going to be starting tonight. The tournament is taking place in Japan. So we are seemingly getting some pretty good edges for this one. I'm not sure I exactly want to be touching these over bets, but it's really, this tournament plays actually more difficult than most tournaments. The scoring average is 70. And so you can see why the PrizePicks line being set at 68 when all these players' averages are right around there. Now, do I think these world-class players, are they all going to play that poorly? Probably not, but like someone like Vincent Norman, I'd be fine betting the over there. I do want to point out like Colin Morikawa, he's of like Japanese descent. The tournament is taking place in Japan. Xander Schauffele, his wife's of Japanese descent. His mom was raised there. Hideki is from Japan. So there's a lot of like fun kind of narratives that go into this week. Xander won the Olympics in Japan as well, the Olympic gold medal there. So I don't know if I exactly want to touch those. The ones I think I might want to be on the most are going to be these birdie or better ones, like Bo Hosler over Austin Eckrock. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. I more times than not, Bo Hosler is going to beat him. Same thing with Tom Hoagie here against Justin Lauer. Hoagie had a bad week last week. If he lets me down again this week, I'm just going to be so tilted by him. He had like 3 double bogeys. That's something that doesn't typically happen for him. So I think he's going to bounce back this week. Does have good course experience at this tournament as well. So we do have some good PGA props that we can be in on. And I do just want to take a quick peek at the discrepancies at all. Nothing too crazy here, but does seem to be underdog is kind of overvaluing it a little bit. Is Hideki going to get 5 birdies? That seems unlikely this week. And same thing with Sanjay. The weather is kind of going to be poor as well. So I actually like including those in some prop bets as well. And I'm actually refreshing the screen because I see they now have strokes props in there. So I want to see if there's any ones in there that are popping up that I feel good about. But I do want to call out that, like, let's say let's just type in Hideki here. The way that underdog has it set up is that you can only bet on one specific bet for that round. So if you're going to do a birdie or better prop, that's the only one you can do for that round. And you can see they actually dropped him now, as they should have. Let's see, Sanjay, is he still that high? He's not. But one other way around that would be, like, let's say the birdie or better one is one that's popping up. as like he's not going to get 4.5 birdies, well, then you can bet the lower fantasy points for him as well. It's another way to go about kind of manipulating the data. And so here we go. We are going to notice that after the refresh, we are getting some better edges potentially on Underdog, where they're saying two things, or we're seeing two messages here. PrizePicks, I think, is right here where they're saying it's going to play a little bit more difficult, whereas Underdog is kind of treating as a normal PGA Tour event. So these players here where we're getting a full stroke difference, I like those. Bet the over for Tagala potentially, Tom Hoagie potentially, and Grillo potentially. Now, it's a par 70 course, so this is only 200 par, which is not too hard to do. But you could also then go to PrizePicks and say, no, they are going to play well. I'm going to bet the under for all these players where we are seeing a big prop line difference. There was a period in time where we could just, when they're that different, we could do both on PrizePicks and Underdog, knowing that we're betting on how the course is going to play. Underdog has corrected that. PrizePicks really adjusts their payouts, so we can't exactly get away with that anymore, but we can see where we are getting some edges there. So this is going to be my bet of the day for Underdog today. The reason why I'm going with lower here once again for Tagala is because I want to do the actual strokes for over strokes at 68. I don't want to do it. I actually think the better bet for that is going to be Grillo, who I'm not saying he's going to struggle, but this is an event where the scoring average has been 70. So with that, someone like Grillo, who is about projected to be middle of the field, above average, I guess, for this week, I'm okay with that one. Do I feel as good about these two as I do these two? Maybe, Tagala is actually someone I think has a good chance to win this week. He's one of my favorite picks. That's where I hesitate with it. But given the lines like you guys saw in this video, I'm kind of okay betting that, especially because we can actually run this exact same slip out on PrizePicks, but just bet the reverse of it. All right, so as I was trying to give you guys that prop, we actually saw Trent Hudson get his prop bumped on PrizePicks. That's all right. That's fine. So you could definitely run out this bet as well. It makes sense. If you want to insure it on Underdog, you could potentially do that as well. Not something I typically like to do for a 4-slip bet, but if you want to run this out as like a 3-slip bet as well on Underdog, these three, because we can kind of tell that the lines are wrong on these, I'm fine with that. Now let's go ahead and show you guys my favorite bets for PrizePicks specifically. And here we go. I like this better because I do think Tagala is going to have a good week this week. So I'd rather make this bet on PrizePicks. And then we could also attach the Grillo one there as well. Now, just want to call out, it is expected to be poor weather. So that's why 1 under par and even, 1 under par for both of these. I guess Tagala would have to get to 2 under par to hit, but this is probably going to be a push. Could that weather change the likelihood of that? Sure. Okay. And that's why I like betting both of them on both sites, because you're more or less betting on how the course is going to play. And then we're just going to bet these really good EV bets that we are currently getting for college football. We'll see. Same thing with the hockey props. These are just good EV bets. Now remember, these are about 54. Well, these two are about 55, 54 for the hockey props to hit, percent likelihood to hit. And to be fair, guys, we have been running hot in terms of giving you guys, or I have been running hot in terms of giving you guys good props that have hit 4 out of 6 times, each slate for the past 2 weeks now. Eventually we're going to have a bad day. And I've been saying in the comment section, because a lot of people have been tilted because they've been, using a lot of the same bets as me, whereas one will hit or, we'll have one bad beat. I've been saying, I would almost rather have a bad slip than have these bad beats continue to hit, because it's just super frustrating, because eventually we are going to have a bad slip, and that could occur. We'll see. Fingers are crossed. Like I said at the start, I don't love this slate compared to really some of the last ones that we have had. But that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you did, make sure to give a like and subscribe. If you guys want access to that 9 to 5 Sports cheat sheet like I showed you guys, I was able to get a pretty good edge this morning. I woke up and I'm all right, where are the best bets? I was able to capture those. Hopefully that pays off on Underdog today. Thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.